Speaker. Today I would like to talk about an organisation which I'm very passionate about, and that's the organisation is called the South Australian Isolated Parents Association. This association has just held their annual state conference at Barra Town Hall on the 30th of April, and this event was very well attended by the numerous branches across all of regional South Australia, particularly the outback areas. The Isolated Children's Parents Association was established during the 1971 Rural Depression in Bourke, New South Wales by a small group of rural and remote parents when the education of their children was under threat. The original aim, first formed in 1971, remains the same today: to gain equality of access to educational opportunity for children living in isolated areas of Australia. In South Australia, there are more than 100 member families belonging to members of the 8 branches: the North West, Port Augusta, Eyre Peninsula, Maree, Eyre, Marla, Oodnadatta, North East and Flinders Ranges, and provision is made for those who cannot attend branch meetings to be named lone members. ICPA is a national rural-based non-profit apolitical parent advocacy organisation comprised totally of volunteers. These people work on behalf of all rural and remote students, irrespective of gender, race, creed or choice of school. The association seeks to have all elements of education, physical, academic, cultural, social development and emotional, available to all students regardless of their geographical location. ICPA works to promote awareness and understanding of the problems and needs of rural and remote students, assisting them to gain access to appropriate schooling, special services, government and private agencies. Since being the member for Stuart, I have been a great supporter of the association, giving financial assistance for their annual conferences and attending these events whenever the times are available. As with the views of the ICPA organisation, I believe that every student, irrespective of their location, deserves to have the very best educational opportunities to achieve their goals and achievements. When I was a child living with my parents, my dad being a rabbit trapper, living at Frome Downs, a very isolated location, the ICPA was not in existence at that time. However, I did a long period during my education at that stage by correspondence education. The state ICPA has achieved some great goals since its inception. However, there is always more to do to ensure that those students living in remote South Australia and their families are able to provide the education that is, in many cases, the parents or grandparents may not have had the opportunity. The associations have achieved lots of issues there, and it's about getting the access there, it's getting the financial support, the remoteness, and also assistance for educational opportunities while they're educating, have to come down to Adelaide. The South Australian State Council is comprised of 6-member executives, up to 2 representatives from each of the 7 South Australian branches, and an appointed lone member. The State Council meets approximately 6 times a year, either face-to-face in Port Augusta or via online platform, with the facility to have telelinks into members who are unable to travel. The ICPA holds annual state and federal conferences which in South Australia are hosted by branches in rotation. The organisation has established policies in the following areas: distance education, boarding schools, school term hostels, and second home rural schools and travel benefit educational needs. The communications of educational allowances, early childhood education, curriculum and tertiary education and career pathways. The ICPA SA is represented on the Open Access College Governing Council and the revised Management Committee and the Telstra/NBN roundtable meetings. At the recent AGM, many motions were put forward, mainly regarding financial assistance with travel expenses, with boarding expenses whilst in the isolation there. Also, it's about the Minister of Education has attended one at Port Augusta sometime when he was the Minister for Education, and also the Minister for Health. That's a couple of issues there. Yes, very important is due to the recent rains that have prevented families from being able to relate personally with each other. It was at this issue that it will be facilitating a review of the recent flood events and endeavour to get a plan or a task group to support rural and remote families at maintaining access to educational service for children during and throughout the recovery phase of extenuating circumstances.